This is our walk through the book of Philippians, one day, one verse at a time. Philippians 3:18. For many live as enemies of the cross of Christ. I've often told you of them, and now I tell you, even with tears. It's a wonderful way to put it because, one, I think sometimes we are caught in a world, sort of like a Harry Potter world almost, where we try to draw this line between good and evil, and we put ourselves on the good, the side of God, and others on the side of bad, and it becomes confrontational. But to Paul, anyone who's sort of on that other side, it's not about a confrontation. It's actually words of tears. I love an old quote, and I forget who it's by, that says, "No one should preach on hell who can do so with dry eyes." Because the idea of people being that opposed to the message, the gospel, the faith that we have, that's not something which we can simply abstractly make into a battle of good and evil. We have to remember God's love for each person. But also there's another important nugget here, and that's the fact that Paul calls them enemies specifically of the cross of Christ. And remember, this whole section is him going back and reminding them of that early Christian controversy of whether or not you have to be circumcised in order to be Christian. The Judaizers. And to Paul, enemies of the cross of Christ is not simply people who are outside the church. It's actually here almost certainly speaking of people inside it, but who are proclaiming and trying to get people to ultimately live their lives and to shape their faith on something centered on something other than that cross. And so it's also the strict reminder that we can become enemies of the cross the moment we move it away from the center of the faith. And so the call is especially for you as you go each day to think today, to think in faith, particularly how we always build up and off of and out of that central act of God for us. Because if we build first out of anywhere else, we'll almost certainly start to marginalize and take away from the cross, in which case we'll almost certainly start lessening our trust in it. Amen.